Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Capes Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with two of my new friends, AJ Mason, and Leslie Julien, two-time grantee winner. Welcome to the stream. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We're here to break down the Crowdfunder campaign for Headcases. But before we dive into that, let's kind of break down who you guys are and your history, creating and writing. I know we were kind of chumming it up a little bit before stream, but now that we're live, let's kind of go ahead and give a little bit of a recap on that. AJ, if you want to go ahead and start.
Of course, yeah. So I am AJ Mason. I'm a published writer and letterer. I've been doing this officially for 4 years. I have this miniseries with Leslie Julien, my first comic book miniseries. And before that, I used to do a lot of short comics in anthologies. I got a one-shot out there that was published by a small publisher. And then I also had my recent Kickstarter campaign for a digital comic that just got funded on April. And also, I'm working on a graphic novel trilogy with IDW.
Wow.
Cloud 9 that I'm really
in 4 years? That's impressive, man. That is impressive. Yeah, that is so awesome.
The first book is going to come out only like in 2024, but it's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah, that gives you enough time to kind of just ride that, like, hey guys, guess what's coming out soon. But Leslie, what about you? What's your break into the indie writing scene and, kind of some of the titles that you worked on?
So I started writing around 2014. I pretty much I was reading comics for a bit in college. I kind of got in around Civil War, and the Runaways kind of pulled me in, and I was always a Turtles fan, so that also IDW's Turtles was to come around at the same time. And after just reading comics for a few years, I was kind of just writing short stories with my girlfriend, now wife, and kind of reading a bunch of comics, and she's like, why don't you make your own? I was like, I don't know how. And I was like, how do you write comics? And so I kind of hopped online and slowly started figuring things out. I got a bunch of Scott McCloud books, and so I just slowly started writing stuff. I think adapted my first comic based on a short story I did, and from there I did Comics Experience for a little bit, and after that I jumped into something called a Comics Experience, where basically every week a writer and an artist are paired together and they just write a random comic based on a random prompt. So I did that, and after that I did a couple stuff that was a little bit longer, 2-page comics, 4-page comics, and then from there kind of fast forward to 2019. I was going to SBX and I was like, crap, I don't have enough comics, so let me make a comic real quick. And I hit up Sam Owen. I saw his stuff randomly online, Sam Owen of Lumberjackula fame, and I was like, hey, you want to write a comic together? Well, actually, we had done a pitch together that didn't go anywhere, and so I was like, hey, I really like working with him, and I try to do something real quick with him. So literally in about 2 or 3 weeks, we put together Gauntlet, which is my longest comic currently out. It's about 16 pages about this girl who dies and has to fight her way into heaven. And from there, I've kind of just done some other short comics. And then last year, I did a Kickstarter campaign with Doug Wood and Brian Flynn called Savage Wizard. And now here we are with Headcases.
Headcases is a pretty unique concept. I really love the idea of the story. But before we start breaking into that, what drove you guys to want to, co-create together? What was that meeting like, and how has that creative process been for you two?
You want me to take it, Leslie?
Yeah, you can take it.
So initially, I actually approached Leslie about co-writing a comic. I always wanted to collaborate with a writer. I used to collaborate with just an artist, or not just, but an artist or a letterer, colorist. But I also wanted to try that. And then I came across Leslie's work. I've known him before. I've read some of his short comics, and then I also saw Savage Wizard and had that idea of reaching out to him. And then we started talking. We initially actually came up with an idea, a completely different idea for a Robin Hood fantasy type of comic, but then we decided that we're not going to do that it didn't work. And then after talking a little bit and seeing what we want to do next, we figured out this comic that we're trying to crowdfund.
Yeah. So it came together pretty randomly, just once we realized like we wanted to do something a little bit more realistic, but obviously not like super realistic. Once we knew we wanted to do something a little bit more grounded, we I think we were going back and forth, and I think we maybe had the characters in mind. It was like, what if these, two people stole something, and then we were kind of going back and forth and things, and then it's like, what if they stole a head, and things kind of spiral from there.
We have J. Michael Miller over on YouTube saying this looks amazing, already a backer. In Mage Universe, excited for this episode. Headcases looks cool. Let me go ahead and throw you guys the Crowdfunder link. We're going to be looking at this and taking a little bit of a deep dive at it. Before we do that, though, we're kind of building up the rapport, getting everyone to know everyone before we take a look at the campaign. So I love that you started from Robin Hood to two teens finding a severed head. The only concept that stuck for me was them stealing something, I guess, right? Because Robin Hood steals from the rich and gives to the poor. How was that transition for you guys, though? Like when you started like storyboarding and everything.
It definitely kind of took a while to get there. Like we had that concept initially, but like trying to figure out the why that they do stuff and kind of building up to like, why is this happening? I definitely kind of took a while. AJ can maybe take over, but it was kind of interesting finding our footing from like where we first started with the fantasy story to what Headcases is now.
Yeah. Again, we were like sort of like batting our heads against the wall, like with that Robin Hood idea, and we just didn't feel right. Like sometimes you can just tell with a project that you're working on that it just doesn't feel good. So we just decided to stop. We took a little break, and then we came back and we're like, all right, can we do this again? And then we just started throwing ideas back and forth. We liked that idea, and then we just started going with it. Then we developed an outline together. Leslie, we like our like collaboration process was Leslie wrote the first script, and then I like served as an editor, read through it, and okay, this works, this doesn't really work, and let's change that and stuff like that. And then after that, we started reaching out to the artists that we have, Paulo Sampaio, and then after that, coloring and lettering. And so we can't hear you.
Oh no, yeah, we can't hear you, Cody.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Blue Yeti, like it's really sensitive, so I have to get
mute.
I have to hit the mute, like where the sure, like when it wants to work, it's good. But yeah, the artwork and illustration just looks so gorgeous in Headcases. I just love it so much. But Leslie, how was that process for you? Like when you were initially doing the script one, like coming up with the concept of it. The train is such a really unique environment as well too. What drove you guys to utilize that?
So we knew like pretty much from the beginning that we wanted to set it in New York. It's set in New York. So obviously like, hey, how do kids get to school in New York is the train. So we had these two kids on the train, and that was kind of the perfect foil to set things up, because that's where you're going to see a lot of people. And from there, like Hila is like people watching and spots this guy, Leo, who has the bag, and things kind of go from there. But yeah, it was just kind of natural. Just like, I think maybe even the outline, we knew like, okay, they're going to be in a train, the bag gets stolen, and then they kind of, head above ground, and then things kind of progress from there.
So AJ, when you took a look at script one and you made your revisions, like what were some of the changes that you included? And if anything, spoiler, you don't have to dive in like to spoiler territory, but like just some of your thoughts and revisions that you made.
Oh, that's a good question. I actually don't remember too much, because I think we wrote the script like in late 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's already been more than 2 years. So I don't really remember a lot. I do remember one thing. I don't know if it was something that Leslie didn't have it and we had to change it, but I was like really adamant about the huge reveal that we have in page 6. I remember like really wanting that thing to be in page 6. Like I wanted it to be as close to the beginning of the comic as possible, because I wanted to grab people's attention. Initially we wanted we like pitched it to a few publishers. So like, and usually with pitching to publishers, usually what they would have is you can send them up until 6 pages usually. So I wanted that page in, because I knew that once they see that, they'll be like, oh my god, this is amazing, let's do it. Apparently it didn't happen. but I think like the people that saw it after like were amazed by it. So Yeah.
You know, I love that though. I would have never guessed that it's 6 pages. So I appreciate that tidbit of information because I'm sure there's people out there listening that had no idea either.
Yeah, I mean, some publishers actually even say if you have the entire comic ready, that's great. But yeah, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, I think Dark Horse usually has that guideline that they need.
Yeah, they kind
like,
of
no
differ,
more
but
than
somewhere in
6.
between there, like 6, some are 8, 5. So, but yeah, like 6 was just a good solid number. I think that worked for a lot of publishers.
So you guys tried to go the publisher route first, and then that's what inspired you to go Crowdfunder?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So speaking of Crowdfunder, though, you both had experiences running campaigns on other platforms. What inspired you guys to try out Crowdfunder, and how's your experience been with them?
So basically, after a little bit after Kickstarter's kind of just their mishandling of the whole crypto thing, we were just kind of looking for more options in general. And so we were like in the process of like potentially starting a Kickstarter, but we pretty much just had like a peer, Dave Baker, hit us up and say, hey, like there's this new platform coming out. Do you want to check it out? And so we did. And we had a meeting with I believe he's the president, and David Barak. And like honestly, it was just it's just a good meeting. Like you could see that they're a smaller company, so they're really amenable to changes and creator input. And they were pretty much just upfront and said like, no, they're not going to delve into the NFT space or any crypto stuff. Like they were saying like just straight up, like in black and white terms, like that we're not doing any of that stuff. Versus like all the corporate speak, which I get, that Kickstarter has to deal with. But at the time, that was just really appealing to us, and we were saying, hey, like, let's give a shot. Let's try out the little guy pretty much because, hey, we're little guy indie creators. So always want to try to, help facilitate small businesses when we can. So
yeah,
I said, hey, we can at least give them a shot.
What about you, AJ? What's your thoughts overall on Crowdfunder? Is this like something, the platform, like, was it something that lived up to your expectations?
Definitely, yeah. It's actually funny because like Dave Baker, he hit me up and he hit Leslie up like separately, and then we started talking about it and we're like, oh, he just hit us up. So we were like,
that's some smart thinking on his part, right?
Yeah. So that worked out great, and there's something that I always like about it that I think I mentioned once I saw you last night, Cody, in the Twitter space. That with Kickstarter, usually like when it comes to physical, like if you want to do some physical rewards, you always have to think of the shipping like you have to calculate it inside the goal, and that usually would make the like goal look a little bit bigger, right? So with Crowdfunder, something that I really liked about it is that you basically just have to calculate just the production and the printing, and then when it comes to the shipping, if someone wants to get a physical reward, then they would have to basically, like, the website sort of like calculates it by itself, and they pay for it separately. The backer pay for it separately, so we don't really need to worry about that when it comes to the goal. So the goal can be a little smaller, because that's something that we actually were a little afraid, because, and we also voiced that to Crowdfunder, where like usually newer platforms like Kickstarter, like that are trying to be like Kickstarter or alternatives to Kickstarter, sometimes there's a goal that they can't pass because people, a little bit, I don't know, I guess adamant is a good,
maybe like hesitant to like, no, just try out something new.
Yeah, exactly. So having a small goal was something that we wanted to have, and something that I thought was a good idea, and yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
We have Ian Modric over on YouTube. Sorry if I butchered your last name. I just know him by Ian from the Spaces, but he's saying hi, Les, AJ, and Cody. Welcome to the stream. We appreciate you stopping by. So real quick, just to kind of like ask some of these questions about Crowdfunder, what are some of the biggest differences you noticed? Like, is there like some of the improvements and maybe some of the things that Crowdfunder could be doing that Kickstarter is, in your opinion?
I tell a lot of people that Crowdfunder feels like really modular. It feels like they have, just more options that they allow creators to use. So they basically have two different options. You can do like the Kickstarter method, or where it's an all or nothing campaign, or you can do like Indiegogo, where like you keep however much money you raise. So that already is different because you can choose between which of those two you like. Also, in terms of like how their fee structure works, they have 3 different tiers. So like with crowdfunding campaigns, basically you're gonna get creators get hit with the credit card fees, but also with platform fees, which are usually like around 5% or something like that. So Crowdfunder, they have basically one tier, which they call like their free tier, where basically you don't pay any platform fees, you just pay the credit card fee. They have a second one that they call nearly free, where your backers can kind of defer those costs. They pay them, and you also still have the credit card fee also. And then the last one is like exactly the same as Kickstarter. So again, like they just have, I feel like, more options than Kickstarter does, and that's something I feel like they pride themselves on, and they're just, again, like really open to feedback and tinkering around with things.
No, that is really cool. I guess I've like, because I'm just the consumer in this, so that's really unique that they would utilize that, and you think that would be something that Kickstarter and Indiegogo would be both doing. You know, I really like that idea. That's like something PayPal's been doing for so long, right? With the friends and family, where you trust them, so you don't they don't pay any like extra charge or anything on it. Right. That should have been something that's been implemented for a hot second. That seems like something that's really cool. But enough of this crowdfunding talk. Let's go ahead and take a look at Headcases. I know we have AJ for a limited time, so I want to make sure we get his input on it as well. We're at 600 of $3,600, 17% of goals with 44 contributors and 30 days left. So congratulations. You guys have raised a considerable amount in a pretty small amount of time. It's only been live for a couple hours, it feels.
Yeah, we're doing good, and hope to keep the momentum going. But yeah, I'm feeling good about where we are, and hopefully, like I said, we can keep that getting higher as the days go on.
I really like how it gives you the option to like and subscribe right here. As well as like kind of you can share it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook Messenger, email,
like, okay.
link to campaign, pin it. It just seems like it gives you the ability just to kind of just advertise this everywhere. If you want, we can go ahead and take a look at this movie.
Yeah, play that.
Just let you know, it's gonna give us the audio on our end, but you guys probably won't be able to hear it.
Yeah, I might say it's probably like a little loud.
Oh, that's fine. I can adjust that right now. Dude, I'm vibing to this beat. I'm not lying. This is good.
Yeah, Final Beat is like, I want to use this really bad.
We have Ian over on YouTube saying the trailer looks great.
Yeah, thanks to Ian.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Thanks to Ian and I put this together. I used Gauntlet to put the trailer together, and he totally put me to that. So
hold on 1 second. This is overpowering you. All right. And thank you for the heads up on that, AJ. I was able to actually kind of get on my slider and reduce it just in time.
Nice.
So thank you for that. So what were you saying, Leslie?
No, I was just saying, yeah, shout out to Ian. He definitely hit me to CapCut. That's how I made the trailer. So yeah, shout out to Ian Mondrick.
Oh, you made that?
Yeah.
That was nice. That looked good,
CapCut
dude. That looked really good.
Makes it makes it look way better than it could have been. They did all the heavy lifting.
So let's go ahead and take a look at the story. It's a routine morning subway ride to school in New York, circa 1999. Hila and Ramon, is Ramon, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Two poor teens steal a man's bag on a whim. They eventually manage to lose the stranger. Hila opens the bag and can't believe what she's seeing inside. There's a severed head. Thus begins the zany chain of events where a trained hitman, an FBI agent, and others are hunting the teens down to get the head back. What an insane premise and concept. I loved it so much. This is awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So we have a 22 full-page interior story pages, standard American-sized book, full color covers. Here's a little glimpse at the audience as well. So they let you set the page up kind of similar in like the Kickstarter, like where you could add the images and the text in a similar fashion. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this
is not too different there.
Headcases is a fast-paced, crime drama with a splash of dark humor. It's planned as a 4-issue mini-series. So you got 4 issues planned all together. This seems like this journey is going to take these two on such a insane ride.
Oh yeah.
It's going to get really nuts as it progresses.
Yeah, both Leslie usually describes the comic as Ferris Bueller's Day Off meets Pulp Fiction, which I really like that comparisons. And I actually usually more think of it as like a love letter to Martin McDonough films like In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, all that kind of stuff. So I assure you it's gonna be a wonderful ride, a wild ride as well.
That's so awesome. So here are some of the preview pages. Let's go ahead and just glance over them as well. Kind of, and I'm loving the detail to the sub trains as well, like graffiti on the wall.
Yeah, Paolo was great with that.
Did you guys
little details?
Did you guys sneak like any Easter eggs in there, or was it just kind of all just?
No, we should have.
Yeah, we should have.
No.
So do these two know each other, or were they kind of just randomly, get ready to run? Okay, so they did know each other. So it looks like they might be setting up a scheme here. Is this where they initially, so they were staking out the guy to steal the bag, it looks like.
Yeah, so Hila was staking him out, unbeknownst to Ramon. Unfortunately, has been dragged into this situation. Unfortunately. She is definitely the type A, or she's like kind of like the one that's leading the charge, and Ramon unfortunately continues to follow her for the mishaps and hijinks that ensue.
I love the expressions too, like the what the fuck, and then her just booking it out of there. This guy definitely does. It's always the ones that you least expect, but this guy definitely does not look like the type to be carrying a severed head.
That's
Exactly.
why. That's what we were going for. So thank you.
Exactly.
And then I also really love this too. I always love when the sound effects are lettered in this fashion. This is so awesome too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites also.
Yeah, Micah really blew out of the park, honestly.
Then this guy stop fucking kids. Oh, and you could tell she's the one that's kind of just the adamant troublemaker right there.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So let's go ahead. We'll scroll through the tiers as well. So it looks like you can get the digital for $6. You can get the physical for $10. And then the extra credit, so the variant cover. Are we able to click on this for a larger image?
I think you can, but I don't think it's gonna be that much bigger.
Yeah, it's a little bigger.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is pretty cool. So this was inspired by Brooklyn Dreams Volume 2 by J.M. DiMattis and Glenn Barr. Sorry if I butchered those pronunciations. I really like this. So what type of inspiration did you give him, or did you kind of just let him go ham with the design?
So basically, I'm gonna be honest. There's website that's called Random Cover. I don't know what the link is, but there's a random cover, and Leslie, we approached Graham Wilkins, so drew the cover beautifully, and Leslie asked me if I had any ideas. So I just went on that website, started randomizing until I just found that this one cover. I was like, that's really interesting. And then I started also reading about the comic and reading the comic as well, and I really liked it. So I was like, okay.
I love it too, because it looks like something that was really just insanely constructed, in this fashion. With the severed head, this is what I'm in the FBI agent and the serial killer. This is awesome. I love it.
Exactly.
Trying to see if I can share that image with you. Give me a sec. Nope. But yeah, it's really evocative. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Let's use that.
Yeah.
And then after the extra credit, we have the Detention, the digital bundle. So you're gonna get PDFs of Headcases issue 1, Savage Wizard issue number 1, Sick and Party Invasion, Leap, Rick Flash, and Leap M. So these are, I take it, books that you guys all worked on together, separately, individually, I mean?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are by a few of our good friends. Yeah, you can see it here in the credits. Savage Wizard, Second Party Invasion, and Leap. That's all by us. Some of them I worked on them. Some of them Leslie, and then the rest, Rick Flash and Leap M, is by our good friends Mark Pate and Doug Wood. Yeah.
And then the
really
After School tutoring pitch script review. So do you have a script or pitch you need help with this reward? You can get a 1-hour video chat with Leslie and AJ who will help get your story up to fighting shape. So that's really, I always love when I see this tier, people going, offering the ability to help others, improve their craft and kind of work on helping that story come to light. And then for 125, you can get your face in the art project, get drawn into the comic. So get drawn into the first issue of Headcases #1 by the incredible Paulo Sampaio. Did I say that correct? Sampaio as a minor character. So that was all the tiers on this campaign, correct?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
so
we're gonna keep it pretty streamlined. So yeah.
No, I really like it. I really like it. So is there anything with these like the highlights, Headcases, alumni, about updates that I should be clicking on? Because I'm kind of new to Crowdfunder, so.
No, you're fine. Yeah, it's different. So no worries. The alumni is basically just us. That's like the team page, so you can see kind of like mini bios.
Most
on us.
likely to win a rap battle, AJ. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I mean, I make music. That's why I put that.
Yeah, we did some goofy stuff for the
so
kind of superlatives there.
Yeah.
And then most likely to write co-write a comic.
Because that's my stack, and I was just making fun of myself.
I'll be honest though, when I seen your ad like Let's Write, I was like, this is fucking slick. I love it so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like people don't appreciate it. Also, thank you.
Most popular, most likely to have art in a museum. This is I love this so much. It's awesome.
Her colors, just oh my gosh, I love wearing it.
Most likely to be better than Justin Birch. So who's Justin Birch?
So Justin Birch is another letterer, and Micah and him kind of have a feud, a joke feud between the two. So, I thought that was perfect.
No, I love it. So highlights. Is that just updates that you've made?
Yeah, I guess it's just updates, and I'm learning too. I don't think I've clicked on that yet.
And then about. So this, okay. So, I think I probably like this a little bit better than what Kickstarter does. They just have it as one continuous page. And
so that's something that they definitely suggested to us, that like you can kind of break it up a little bit more. So it's not, sometimes you get some super long scrolls with some campaigns. So this kind of like that also
gives you a little bit of a premise. We've already went over this, but for anyone that's interested, feel free to pause and read it a little bit more in depthly. And you have the updates too. So this is
or day one update there.
And then activity is probably everyone. Yeah. Cool.
That's something that I liked about it. That I don't think Kickstarters sort of have it, but like here it's way more like clear and everyone are able to see like who backed it and how much they backed it and all that kind of stuff.
So was there anything that I might have missed on going over this? Oh wait, right. There's a larger picture of the variant.
Yeah, there's a larger picture. Yeah, I threw that in here actually a little bit earlier. Yeah. And I'm not sure if you can share your screen or anything, but in the chat I put the reference image for the variant cover.
Private chat.
In our chat.
Yeah, let me pull.
Or I'm not sure if you want me to DM it to you on Twitter or something, but I think that should link to it.
The Brooklyn Dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, that actually looks wild. Wow, that's awesome. Let me add that to stream real quick.
Yeah. So thanks to AJ for finding that.
Of course.
Yeah, this thing is brutal looking. I love it. Have you had a chance to read this at all?
No, but I think I'm going to have to now.
Yeah, I wonder what it's about.
Yeah.
This looks brutal. So with us wrapping up the Crowdfunder campaign, we had a look at, a chance to take a look at it really in depth. For anyone in there, check it out right there. What would you guys like to say to anyone that's kind of like on the fence about backing it? They're maybe hesitant, or they're kind of just like just waiting for a good reason. What would you say to them directly to kind of convince them to back your project?
I'd say, Headcases is just kind of in your face, nonstop action. If you just like a story that just is constantly moving, like I'd say definitely pick this up and check it out. I think we had a lot of fun writing Hila and Ramon. We kind of made them interesting and kind of three-dimensional characters. They're not just the shitty kids that you see in the beginning of the story. There's more to them, and there's a lot of, again, crazy layers to the folks that are going after them too. Like you say, it gets increasingly nuts once we add the other characters into the mix along with the hitman. There's an FBI agent who's after the hitman. So yeah, it gets pretty wild. And I mean, look at Paolo's inks and look at Warnia's colors, which, oh my gosh, I seriously drool over that part scene all the time. So yeah, check out this comic. I think it's amazing, but I'm pretty biased.
Oh, we can hear you
You're
again.
muted again.
What would you say, AJ? Well, sorry about that. I was good, and then
All good.
so good thing it wasn't muted when I was talking a lot earlier.
So I would say I'm trying to I tried thinking about it a little bit, and it's just if you really want to read something, I always love discovering something, and you really are getting what you ask for. You're oh my god, this is a wild ride, and I really think that this is a wild ride that we got there for you, and it's full of surprises. The two main character, they're super relatable. They're going through a lot in this miniseries, and really if you're looking for an emotional story, but at the same time a wild ride full of surprises and a lot of action and a lot of blood and gore and everything, just please check us out.
No, that is so awesome. But before we wrap things up completely, I gotta ask, we got 4 issues. You're already working on the first one, so 3 planned. Where are we gonna see these 2 head next? Without spoiling too much, where can we see this adventure start to go?
So we kind of hint that they're on the run basically from a hitman, and they're on a run from crooked cops, and they're on a run from psycho cults. So we're gonna meet all of them, and it's not they're just gonna be minor characters that we see maybe once or twice. They're gonna be there the whole time. They're gonna have also they're also gonna have character arcs and backstories and everything. It's just gonna be by the end of it, it's gonna be just a huge world full of crazy characters. So I really think it's a cool outline.
No, that is so awesome. Hey, I really appreciate you guys coming on here, breaking down Headcases and everything in between. I love this show for so many reasons. One of it, being the ability to talk with about comics with so many different creators, but another thing is it's almost like a learning tool for new creators too. They watch the show, they learn tidbits of wisdom. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask both of you a question. For anyone that's watching that's kind of new to writing comics, coming up with scripts of their own, or just ideas in general, and they're having trouble just getting started, what advice would you give them to kind of just get started with the process?
What I always say is, I know this is kind of cliche advice, but start small. Starting small can be the best way to sharpen your sword as a writer. Like I said, I started writing, 1-page comics, and hey, I got 2 grantees. But no, seriously, you should. I think definitely focus your efforts on smaller stories, just because one, it's cheaper, so you can make more stories that way. But also, just it's actually a lot harder to write short stories than you think. So if you can write a concise story in 1 or 2 pages, then you've got the goods. So start small and just keep slowly building your way from there. Is what I would say.
Oh, that is awesome. I appreciate that. What about you, AJ?
I wish I had a different answer, but I guess if we both have the same answer, I think maybe it is.
No,
right.
That works.
And it is just like that. I would add another thing to it, how I started actually, which I really like that idea, and I think it sort of was suggested by Jim Zub, who's a great writer that I love. That sort of if you've never written a comic before, or maybe you've written here and there, sort of treat it as a game. First of all, you have the first level where you write maybe 1-pager or 2-pager. Then if you do that once or twice, and you're okay, I feel like I got it figured out a little bit. Then you go to the next level. You do a 4-pager. Then you do an 8-pager. Then you do a 12-pager. Then you do a one-shot. And now, and I sort of treated it that way, because I did the same thing, and then I graduated to the point where I had a one-shot that I just released on Kickstarter, and now I have a mini series, and on 2 years I'm gonna have a graphic novel trilogy. So I'm in boss level basically.
Yeah, let's go, my man.
So treating it as a challenge is always good. I feel like it's really crazy how you can go from this small and until
You know, it's crazy because perception is almost like a big part of it. It feels like you know, the mindset that you create. I always like the saying, like, in your day, if you're having a bad part of your day, consider it like a football game. Like, you know, the first quarter of it was bad, you still have 3/4 of the game left. You know, you don't want to give up. So I love that. Thank you guys so much for your pieces of wisdom. For everyone, here is the link one last time. Be sure to check it out, but most importantly, be sure to back it, because this is going to be an awesome issue, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. Leslie, AJ, thank you both for coming in. AJ, thank you so much. I know you were on like a kind of a time constraint, so I really appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
No, thanks a ton for having us. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love it. Guys, this was such a fantastic day. It is New Comic Book Day. Be sure to check out all those awesome books out there. Headcases, most importantly. Hope you guys have an awesome Wednesday, but most importantly, keep it geekly.